Good day, guys. Welcome to Customer Restore Mods, another episode. This is the third episode of this Hillman Avenger project we are doing. If you haven't watched the first two episodes, please go back to our channel and watch it. Otherwise, you wouldn't know what we are doing with this car right now. So, what we are doing right now is fitting the rear suspension of the Toyota Mark II Chaser into this Hillman Avenger. It already has a decent suspension system, if you can see, coils and dampers, stabilizers. It's a very decent suspension system which was done in 1972. We have refurbished and fitted this, but this is how it goes. Sometimes you have to throw away everything we have worked in this kind of projects. That is what we are doing right now. Take it apart. This is how the underside of the car looks like. We have undercoated this before fitting the previous suspension system, which is the stock suspension system. We have figured out that this spare wheel bucket has to go to fit the Toyota Mark Chaser suspension system, because it comes with a subframe system which will be mounted in this chassis. This is in very good shape, so we have to figure out how we are going to fit this into that. This is suspension system of the Toyota Mark II Chaser. It's a dual wishbone suspension system with disc brakes and everything, which will work just fine. We are taking out the differential and some components to make it lighter, so we can maneuver it under the car. So this is how it looks like when you put it under the car. If you are wondering about this jack, we have manufactured this in our workshop. You can't buy it. For these kind of jobs you need custom tools. This is one of those custom tools we are using. You have to place it properly, measure it properly, and mark it properly in the chassis before you do anything. Like I always say in my previous videos, it is very important you do the measurements properly. As you can see, we have cut out half of the spare wheel bucket which has to go. We'll be cutting out the whole thing anyway, but for now we have cut out this part. Once we are done with the job, we can cut it out. These are the columns which will be used for the shock absorbers, because this didn't have a shock absorber. It only had some dampers, which was mounted in 2 bolts. But the Toyota has a shock absorber, so we have cut out the inner fenders and have made these columns fit the shock absorbers. So it has to be precise, very precise. Guys, this takes a lot of attention when you are cornering and driving. It is very important you do the proper measurements before you do this. This is how it looks when you weld it. We are in the process of welding it. The angle and everything has to be precise, guys. I'm telling you again, everything has to be precise. Otherwise you won't be able to do the wheel alignment of this car. So now we have done the welding in both sides of this shock absorber columns. This is how it looks like. It's not pretty, but we'll make it pretty and I'll show you. And as I always say, it is very important when you do a job, make sure another mechanic will able to undo it. So if you can see, we have mounted the shock absorber columns in a way where you can take out the shock absorber without hassle. And this is how the subframe looks like. The spare wheel bucket has to go. We have fabricated the floor panel and already welded it in place. Now the car is sitting on the floor without any jack supports. This is how it looks like with the new suspension system. So we might have to modify the wheel arches a bit more. This is how the shock absorber column looks like when you look at it. So this is how the suspension on the rear wheel is done. So we'll show you how the brake pedals and the clutch pedals and everything will be set up. The steering column is already in place. On the next episode of this project, I will show you how it is done. So if you like the video, please put a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Thank you, guys.